Hi guys, we're here, it's handover day, let's get into it. So this is the Chausson 630 and we're going to go around the vehicle today just showing you how to get on with it, little bits and bobs that are worth knowing and all the rest. So first and foremost, when setting this vehicle up, always take off the cover. Well, that's in the case that you're going to use the boiler on gas. If you plan on just using it on electric, the cover can stay on. Obviously it goes without saying, whenever we're done, put the cover back on before we drive anywhere. So you've got your diesel fill up at the top. Just below there is your AdBlue. You do need the door open to access both of these, and there is a funnel in your pack for the AdBlue to help refill without making a mess. This here is the Ford weight plate. The actual Chausson one is under the bonnet. So as you can see here, this is a stage 1 on here. This is the first point. This isn't the weight plate that you'll be working to, as it does say 3550. Your particular one you're looking for is the Chausson weight plate, which should be located under the bonnet. We can lower the seat, we can lift the seat, we can lift the lap on the seat, we can do the angle of the recline on there as well. With the armrest, it's down to the bottom, then up to engage. So nice and easy there as well. And obviously cab blinds, goes without saying, they're a pinch and pull them along. And then obviously sometimes you do need two hands if it gets just caught down at the bottom. But just to demonstrate, I'll probably do the actual full cab blind across the front as well. So this one here, you'll see you get little notches around the top, and that's because it's got to go around the actual mirror itself and the unit. So you may need to put your mirror down flat like that, just to allow space for the rail to then get behind and actually the insert go around the base of that mirror plate just there. Cab wise, other features, obviously it is a Ford cab, should be nice and easy, relatively straightforward for the driving, obviously clutching to start every time. You do have the heated wing mirrors, which is just there. You've got all your cabin controls just down here, radio controls up at the top, and there's a little glove compartment there too, as well as just down here as well. And you will see your locking wheel nut is in there ready for you guys. Right, let's carry on with the outside then. So closing the door off, you'll see now that lip just there gets covered by the door, which is what locks it in place. As we come around, the first thing here is the external cold shower point. You have a little hose in your garage, which I'll show you. Just plug it straight in, and as long as the water pump's turned on inside, you'll be able to rinse everything down. We've then got the hookup point. Now the hookup, very important. That's going to power the high powered systems in this vehicle, such as your boiler, your fridge, and anything else that obviously runs on that high powered electric. I'm just turning the water off now for the water tanks. They should be nicely filled up now. If we just double check that quickly, I will come back to this, but just want to make sure. Almost full, that'll do for the handover. Yeah, so it's going to power your high powered systems, the hookup. So you've got a fridge in there. If you've got electric hob, it's going to do that. 3-pin sockets like at home, it's going to power those up as well. And obviously if your TV's to 230 volt, it will do that too. In addition to powering those things up, it's going to also charge up your leisure battery. Don't get me wrong, you can have a bit of feed in there from the solar and bits like that, but this is how it's going to charge up to the absolute fullest. Next along, we've got the locker where all the maintenance is done. So on the left hand side, you've got your power split into 2 fuse boards. On your right is your mains, so when the hookup leads in, and on your left is everything from the battery. In your packs, there is also a labelled diagram in the Chausson booklet to tell you which circuits are what on there as well. Closing that up, and we're around to this side. So this is all water. So this is how we fill it up. Hose pipe straight into the tube, fill up. This one here is for access for cleaning the tank. Don't unswizzle that when the water's in it. As you can see, the water level is here. So if we undid that, it'd be a big mess. And this here is your drain off tap. So this is going to drain the fresh water off. This will drain it all the way down to about 10%. There is also underneath the vehicle a white one, which I don't know if I can really show you. There's another white tap underneath there, and that's to drain it all off completely. So you have 2 freshwater drain taps. Obviously, this one here, if you lift it up vertically, it will start to drain. And like you see there, look, we're now draining the water out, putting it back to that position there. Or you can just push down, or like you say, flick it up completely. This here is just a little black cover that goes onto this fitting when the water's filled up. Further down to that then, we're now coming to the rear garage. So unclip, spin to unclip, open the garage up. In the garage space, you can see you've got all the carpets there. You've got some chocks down at the bottom. What seems to be like a Fiamma awning as such. Awning wind out tool for the canopy. And then there's your inflation kit and your pump, and down at the bottom is that shower head that you can use just over there at the front. To close these up, spin to lock in, then twist the barrel. Then when you push in, it'll stay sat in. Because I've not locked it with a key, it's just going to keep springing back out. Reverse cameras up at the top, just be careful with the jet wash. Parking sensors down at the bottom. Again, with motorhomes, with jet washers, yep, we do use them, but we do need to stand far away when we do so, just to ensure that we're not putting too much pressure onto the seals of the motorhome. And then obviously, just again, in the garage space, you have a little light on the wall there to help see, but that's the shower head. And you'll see the brass fitting on the end just there that clips straight into the brass fitting. The pumps in that section, and that's obviously the slime that obviously seals off any punctures. And then we've got two power points, being a 12 volt and a 230 volt. The circular one, the 12 volt, will be on constantly whilst the control panel's turned on, and the bottom one will activate once the hookup leader's been put in the vehicle. Yeah, so this is the bottom of your toilet. So just above there is the toilet. Once you do your business, it all comes down and drops into what we call the cassette. Lift the trigger, pull the cassette. Once we've pulled it so far, it shows the handle. We can then lift the cassette up, take it out, and to empty it, all we do is spin that round, spin the cap off, and tip out the front. To put the blues back in, get the recommended amount of blues or greens, pull this back, spin that off, tip it in. We have already put some in to ensure there's blues in there, keeping it fresh, hoping that you're going to use this motorhome as soon as possible. Once you push it back in, just make sure that's in the recess and you're all good to go. That is the toilet cassette, changed, filled, emptied, filled and put back in. Next thing to bring up is this tap here. So here's your identifier, that's your wastewater tank logo, and this is your wastewater tank drain off point just here. So if I pull this towards me, oh, it's already pulled out, push it back into close. So that's closed, that's open, just like closed, open. We'll leave it open for the handover so no water collects in there. Down to the front, you've got your gas locker. Spin to open, pull open, spin left on the brass fitting to turn your gas on, right to turn it off. To remove the gas bottle, spin this right. To put this back on, spin it left. Opposite threads on gas. But the gas has to be turned off whenever you're driving the vehicle anywhere. That is a law. So essentially, when we're done with the motorhome on the holiday, we need to come to this cupboard here and switch the gas off. So we've gone around the vehicle, we've plugged it in on the other side, we've put the water hose pipe in and filled the water up, and we've turned the gas on. We've now got the three fuels that we need to operate everything in this motorhome. Other than the canopy, that is it for the outside. Obviously, canopy is a bit more of a two-handed job. So I'm going to bob my zoom on 0.5 and we're going to come on in. And here she is, look. Sorry about this area here. I've just got it like that, ready to show where the boiler drain-off point is, the charger and the water pump as well. But just so you can see, all nice and freshly valeted. And obviously the table will show you how to work all that. All down here, we're going to get to that as well, and the drain-off points. All the light switches, and obviously the table is done here. You do need the key in to drop the table on the electric, so we're not trapping anybody's legs, and the key is on the main set of keys. The bed's also electric, so they need keys to put in, which you can see we've got just here. Right, so control panel then. We've got, hold this to turn, wake everything up and turn everything on, just like switching on your phone. So turn on, and that wakes everything up. Once we've done that, we can, this switch here will turn all the lights on. This will turn your water pump on, and this will turn the awning light on outside. If I click this button here, this tells me how much power is in the leisure battery. This is the vehicle battery and how much power is in that, your fresh water and brightness of this display. This light here tells us the vehicle is charging the leisure battery off the hookup. If you get a light on this one, it's when your alternator is then charging the rear battery as well. If any of these lights come on, the warnings. So on this one, for instance, these two are both battery levels. So if you get a light there, it's because your battery is running low. And if you get a light on any of these, it's because your wastewater or fresh water needs sorting. So if I click this one here, you'll see now it's measuring the leisure battery level for us. If I click this one here, it's going to measure the vehicle battery level for us. If I click this here, it's going to show us the fresh water. And this one here, you just have to click and hold, and the brightness will go up and down. If you want the heating on, turn this dial, simply turn it to any point. So we've got off, and up here is about 32 degrees. So I've got it set at the minute at about 23, 24, and as you can see, the heating has gone off. And the only reason it's gone off is because in the past sort of 20 minutes, this glorious sunshine's come out, really warmed the motorhome up nicely. So that's all well and good. Over here, you've got two light switches. This is just your thermostat for your heating. And because we was on the subject of heating, like you say, it's fed off the diesel tank. It is a Webasto diesel heater. The only time this won't turn on, preferably unless there's a fault, is if there's not enough diesel in the tank, which obviously just try and keep it above that quarter line, the bottom quarter, and you'll never have to worry about it. Now, because we're on about heating, we'll show you the hot water next. So here you've got electric and gas. At the bottom, you'll see on the gas it gives you option of 70 degrees or 50 degrees. Now, the electric one at the top offers you the exact same. It just, for some reason, they put small wavy lines and big wavy lines. And all that stands for is 1 kilowatt and 2 kilowatt. But 2 kilowatt will give you the 70 and 1 kilowatt will give you the 50. As you can see at the minute, we have both of these switches on. So they're both switched to the bottom on the hottest mode. To switch off, simply click so it's flat in the middle, like that. I don't know if you can tell with the profile of the switch, so it's flat. And if you wanted the top one on, you simply click to the top, like so. Obviously, if we're using the boiler on electric, then we don't need to take that cover off outside. This one, however, when we're using it on the gas, one, we need the gas bottle switched on, and secondly, we need that cover took off, which we've put in that door just down there. Right, just while I'm here, these lights are individually switched at the base, and these ones around the cab are switched local as well. USB charging for whoever's using the drop down bed up at the top. We've got 2 ports over there, and the blinds, they have no pull strings, they're magnetic, so you sort of lift them up and magnet them to each other just like that, and you can lift them all the way up or have them all the way down. Obviously with your driving, we're just going to put them down, because again, if you hit a pothole, speed bump, it's just going to drop them either way. So, control panel, heating, hot water. Here is where your TV controls are. So, you have the bracket, start with. To move the bracket, pull that lever over, and you can then pull the bracket out. The bracket will then spin in any direction, and always click it back if you listen. And that means it's not going to go anywhere while you're driving. You've got power sockets at the back just there, so you can have a 230 volt TV or a 12 volt, completely up to you. And the aerial point is there as well. As soon as you plug onto that aerial point, it is then going to connect you to this booster just here. And all this booster is your signal coming from your aerial down the cable into a box and split so that you can share it across more than one television point. To adjust the aerial to get the best picture, we need to loosen the clamp like so. We need to pull it up or push it down depending on where you are. If you're about to drive away, pull it down. If you're about to set up, push it up to the top and twist the clamp nice and tight, not too tight, but nice and tight with one hand, just to make sure that it's gripped in position. You've got your carbon monoxide and smoke detector above, and then below you've got your 3-way fridge. Now, to wake up your 3-way fridge, you can either tap that button just there, and that's going to display on the screen what's going on. So from this, I can tell you that we're on automatic mode on the coldest temperature with the heated seals on. So to change the power source, we simply tap this square. Now we're on manual selection of power hookup. That's if you want it on the vehicle battery. So now it's giving a fault saying, hang on, there's no power from the vehicle battery. If I went to the cab now, put the keys in ignition and started the engine, this would stop flashing, and that red light in there would go to a solid green or blue, and it would just stay on properly. If I go to gas, just like that, and now it's going to self-light on gas. See the green lights appeared again? Obviously, if it doesn't light on gas, it's going to all start flashing at us, and that's going to turn red. And that's how we know. Now, you'll see when you come to pick this vehicle up, the vehicle's not fully level, but on the more modern motorhomes, they can be out of plumb a lot more, and the gas still operate properly. So click that to reveal the screen again, and I'm just going to put it back on automatic mode. Now, automatic mode is exactly what it says on the tin. It prefers the hookup, as it's done here. If I went now and switched off the power, it'd go to the gas, which is in that locker down there. If I went to the top of the gas bottle and turned it off and started the engine, it'd then go to the engine battery. If I then got to the campsite, turned the engine off and plugged the vehicle back in, it'd then go to the hookup. Or say I didn't go to a campsite, I just turned the engine off and turned the gas back on, it'd then fire up itself on gas. The rule with the fridge is the gas and the hookup are both going to reduce the temperature of the fridge. The battery powered one isn't. That's the vehicle battery, and all that's there to do is maintain the temperature. So you're going away at 12 o'clock midday, 11 o'clock, have it on gas or electric, spend an hour getting it cold. Once it's cold, then you can set off, put it on battery mode, and whatever temperature it was when you set off, it'll be the exact same temperature when you get to wherever you're going. Now, to change the temperature, simply tap that square there. 5's the coldest, 1's the warmest. And this here turns off your heated seals. That's off, that's on. And all that is these seals just here. Now, simply because the fridges get really cold, with the heated seals, it just stops them sticking to the frame of the fridge. You see on the online sales, and you can see them now and again, where the rubbers are all got holes and tears in them. It's because the fridge has been left on that long on cold, it's actually stuck itself to the base of the fridge, which is why we have the heated seals on. However, if you're trying to save battery and power, you will have them off like that. Now, we're moving into the bathroom next. I'll put the zoom back on. We've got some nice pressure coming through, primed all the water systems up. So we've got the hot side, got the cold side as well. Always keep your sink plugs in when you're not using it to stop any bad smells coming up. We've got storage down at the bottom. We've also got a heating vent just down there, and then we've got the toilet. So to flush the toilet, press the blue button and hold it. You're going to get a bit of gunk come through here, simply because water gets stuck in this pipe, and then obviously it builds up in the pipes. So you saw there, I just moved that lever over from the left to the right. That opens and closes the drain at the bottom. Give this a couple of jolts to make sure we've got as much out as we can. There we go. And then when you're done, pull the lever back over. The disc is now back in the bottom, and we can close the lid. We can also spin it for comfort. That light will come on when the cassette is full. More storage up at the top. More storage in this wardrobe just here. And what we've actually got is both the infill cushions for making up the bottom bed when you drop the table. We've got the safety nets for the 2 drop-down singles, and we've got a full set of thermal screen covers to go with it as well. These bits we kept inside because if it was in the garage, they might get a little bit of mould on them due to humidity and keep them in storage. So it's better kept in there if we can. And then you've got your shower. Lovely blue LED surround. Got this tray in the bottom as well, so we can walk on there in our shoes in the daytime and make use of the space, make it a changing room. At the top there is a drying rail, so you can hang that down, hang your clothes on there after you've been out for a wet rainy walk, for instance. All the water is then going to drip off there into the shower tray and down the plug holes. If you also close this sliding door off with the heater on, it's also going to help drying as well. When we're driving anywhere, the doors must be strapped back. Same with this sliding door just here. Now into the kitchen, and we've got some pressure coming through on the cold side and the hot side, nicely primed up. Light in the electric hob is just like that, and the light comes on. If you've had the electric hob on, allow for at least 20 minutes for it to cool down before putting the hob glass down. If this hob glass isn't all the way back, nothing will light on here other than the electric hob, because simply there's 2 switches in the base of there, because if you put a pan down with an exposed flame, this is a heat shield. If it doesn't detect the heat shields back, it won't light any of the hobs, same as this here, another heat shield. So to light the hobs, all integrated igniter, just push and twist. You might have to hold in for a second or two like I did there, just to make sure the thermocouple gets nice and warm. And there we have it. Below that, because it's the triplex, we do have the oven and grill as well. So the oven is this one here, and we just want to spin that to the left. That's going to light the oven, as you can see. And then for the grill, we turn it off to the top and we push in and we go right. So if I hold them 2 in now, you see the grill fire up just there nicely. A couple of seconds holding it on, and that's how we know the thermocouple's nice and warm. Loads of storage surrounding this space, as you already know, absolutely tons. You've got the soft closing drawer just there, a cupboard with 2 shelves. Underneath there is just access for heating pipes. And then just above as well, you've got another one, which is your cutlery drawer that slides out on the angle. This is an example of one of the sockets that will become usable once the vehicle has the hookup lead in. Got another drawer there on the soft close, extendable worktop. The socket that you've had fitted just fitted above the magazine holder, perfectly situated. And again, these will operate when the vehicle has the hookup lead plugged in. And then we've got this nice sneaky storage spot above as well. Really nice LEDs running to the walls everywhere, really smart. And then when it comes to dropping the bed down, I'm not going to go all the way, just to demonstrate, just click the button and away it goes. Now, traditionally, if you want this bed all the way down, you will need to take off nothing, actually, looking at it. So I won't at the minute, because obviously I've got these out here. But as it stands, the sofa's like that. As you can see, the bed will go straight in front of the cushions and sit itself on the base seats. So we don't need to disturb any of the lounge to get the beds up and down, which is always handy. But again, just zoom that back up to the top. Once it's up, take your key out, over to the next one, and we can do the same over here, as you can see. The only thing you will need to do to get the beds up and down, if you want them all the way to the bottom, is simply to drop the table. Switch that off, leave that in this side so we can demonstrate that when you come to collect the vehicle. Right, so down to the front then. We've got the makeup seats underneath here, which obviously I'll show you when you get here. It's quite by the by on that kind of stuff. But what I really want to show you is in this compartment here. So we know this is the heating hot water switches for the the gas and electric heat switches for the boiler, and the boiler is just there. And basically that big flue there sucks in air to go into your diesel heater that's underslung. This gas tap isolates the boiler from the gas, and then here you have your fresh water pump, and here you have your battery charger. That yellow switch down at the bottom is what I want you to focus on, because that is how we're going to drain all the water off from the boiler just there. So if you watch that, now the pump's running, that's off. So draining, not draining. And then that'll fill the boiler back up, and there you go. So essentially, a good thing that we left the pump on there. When we are draining the fresh water out, the boiler down, which is there, and when we're draining the fresh water out of the tank, which is outside, and when we're draining the wastewater out there, we should be doing that after every use of the motorhome. And when we are doing it, we need to do it with the water pump turned off. Otherwise, the pump's just going to continuously run trying to refill all the water that has escaped, because effectively to a boiler, whether it's going out of that tap there or out of the hot tap, we're using hot water, so it's trying to refill it with cold water that'll then get heated to make hot water as we do it. So just one worthwhile remembering. Now, obviously we know how to swivel the seats in the cab. See there, that's not quite clipped back. That's all the way back. That's how we want it before we set off travelling anywhere. And obviously we've been through the cab, but you've got your cruise control down here and your speed limiter. This gets you through the menu in front. This obviously adjusts the volume. You've got your lights down there and your mirrors with your central locking. And then obviously, like I showed you before, your heated mirrors are just there. So all really nice and local. Obviously, the only thing that I'm going to be able to enable to show you on the video is one, the awning, and secondly to that is the self-leveling system. Now, the only reason for that being, I actually have to move the vehicle in a hole to show you the self-leveling system, and obviously the awning, I need more than one set of hands, so I'll be doing that with you guys when you're here today. But the self-leveling system, as a reminder, needs the hookup lead plugged in on this specific system. So essentially, you'll put the hookup lead in, we'll be able to turn the system on, and then we'll click get up. Once we click get up, then obviously what it's going to do, it's going to start lifting the vehicle up and just make it perfectly level. Now, obviously you'll notice as well, around there, you have all the individual buttons. Now that's for you manually doing it. So you click manual, then you can do it manually. You can either do each side, front and back. This is here if it's not happy. If there's too much weight in there, it'll light this one up. If the floor that he's trying to lift up on isn't level, it'll light this one up, which is what it'd do if we was to do it here where we are, which is why I have to move the vehicle into the centre of the forecourt. So what we need to do is click on, click start, and click get up, and then that'll lift the vehicle into position. We do need the hookup lead in to power the system, just as a reminder. But then all in all, once you're done with the vehicle, drain the wastewater off at the back, drain the boiler off under the bench, and drain the fresh water off either in the locker or underneath with the water pump turned off. Once we've done that, make sure your fittings are secure. Take your oven trays out, grill trays out, hob glasses down with mats underneath them. Come outside, unplug the vehicle, obviously shut all the lockers off, turn the gas off as well, put the flue cover back on for the boiler, and then have a general check around to make sure the vehicle's all in position and you're happy with everything before driving anywhere. And by that I mean all blinds open, no blinds like physical plastic blinds that are integrated into the window can be closed. Keep them all open, make sure all the windows are shut, all the lockers are shut, gas is off, everything's back on board, water's drained down, and away you go. But we hope you enjoy the motorhome, guys. It's certainly a good one, and we hope you make plenty of great memories in it. Thank you for choosing Rove Gunthorpe.